Hello everyone. Thought it was about time I gave an update on this TV. And yeah, can pretty much safely say it's just about done, to be honest. It's running a lot better than what it was, especially in the picture department. Probably won't show on camera, but I can definitely tell you in the flesh, the picture quality is a hell of a lot better. Helped by, of course, the power supplies not being done up. And I will explain what I did shortly, but first we'll have a look at the crusty old electrolytics I took out of it. These awful things, well, I suppose they weren't awful when they were new, but yeah, the state of these things, I mean, they're a multi-section cap, so you've got a 200, 25, a 50, and a 100 microfarad all in the same can. They're both identical. I'm guessing these are a Philips brand. Judging by that, it's pretty much a giveaway. I've seen a lot of Philips sets using these. I'm pretty certain the S8 chassis use these same multi-section caps as well. So before we measure these with a cap tester, and we can laugh at how bad they are, I'll actually show you what I did and how I rewired everything and installed the new caps. So as from the last video, I showed the description of the circuit, which I have in front of me right now. And yeah, so okay, so you see these two new filter caps here. The good thing is too, I was able to actually use less capacitors when I did the upgrade because of those two large filter caps. So the two 100s that you see there are now at 220 mic replaces it, and after the 150 ohm resistor we've got a couple of 200 microfarad capacitors. Well, a 470 has taken their place. And the good thing is too, these modern caps exactly the same size. They don't have to muck around with clamps or making spaces to make them fit. They're pretty much just slotted straight in. Just got the polarity around the right way, and basically wired them up in circuit. And yeah, these two caps are 450 volt rated. And looking at how our voltage is sitting there, 285, 235. Yeah, no, those two filter caps are going to last forever in there. They're not going to fail or overheat or get overrun. They're just going to go for years pretty much. And what else was it? Oh yes, and also these 250s as well. I changed that out for a straight 100 microfarad capacitor. So I'll show you what I did. Let me go up into here and have a look. Sorry about the lighting, it's not the greatest in here, but I can probably get my torch down into there. So basically used a whole lot of tag strips and wired the other capacitors and the resistors. I tried my best. I tried to keep the heat away from the capacitors by just wiring all those 5 watt resistors in such a way. That one there might get a bit of heat, but at least the resistor's standing up. So I mean, I've had this set running for quite some time, and and I put my finger on those caps, and they're only lukewarm. So yeah, that's the 250s on the B plus on the number 4 B plus rail. That's now 100, and the 225s in there, putting 22 and 51 there and one there. Yeah, and it's wired those two other filter caps are just wired. Hang on, I should get this. This might be a bit better actually. I'll try this silly torch. Yeah, so it's not too bad. It's you know, it's okay. It's I mean the that yeah, that tag strip set is used. That tag strip's new. The two main filter caps, I collected a whole bunch of power supply caps out of old CRT TVs, you know, late model ones. So, you know, and I checked them on cap test, and they tested perfectly. So it's got a mixture of new and used parts in there. And look, it's running. It's perfectly fine. There's no problems at all. No problems at all. And the same for the 100 microfarad to smooth the smooth the filament supply. Sorry about the lights. The fluoros are doing funny things with the camera. This part here is different because we've actually got a mains transformer, so all this isn't here. But all this here pretty much is, and it's about minus 137, 138 volts. And it goes through this series chain divider through all the valves to ground. And yeah, I found a nice Elna 100 mic, 350 volt. Come on, camera, don't be a pain. Yeah, so I got a nice used Nichicon 100 volt, 100 UF 350 volt cap in there. Again, fitted in perfectly, didn't have to muck around with anything. It solders straight in place, and yeah, it's running. Again, it's running perfectly fine. I probably do get a bit fussy about my TVs when I repair them. But yeah, it's only, they're old TVs. You know, I mean, you know, the sets are probably going to get less. I mean, once I restore my TVs, I use them for a bit, then they get put on the shelf. Then I drag them out and use them again. So, you know, the amount of times I'll probably use this set, it'll, you know, everything in there is going to last for ages. Although I do want to try and run my sets more, to be honest. I feel I've neglected my collection for quite some time, and I've even got restored sets in the garage which haven't been turned on in like 7 or 8 years, and I'd really like to get them out to fire them up, but they're buried 3 layers deep. So there is that sort of frustration, and you know, it's yeah. With winter coming too again, I wouldn't mind trying to at least give them at least a good run. Yeah, so I hope the more sets I restore, the more I'll actually use them, is my mode of thinking, but that may change. Who knows? But this one here has certainly come up really well. I'm quite happy with it. So yeah, and yeah, that 100 mic cap in the filament supply line. This was the old blue one that came out of it, and this cap still actually tests okay. But you look with these old capacitors, you just never know. You never know. So yeah, and these ones were on the circuit boards. There was one it was 8 mic and 100 mic. That's for the cathode bypass and for the frame output valve, and that's coupling to ground off the HT rail. So I put a 10 in there, a nice new 10 at 450 and a 100 at 35. It's never going to fail. And over here on the HT bypass as well for the audio stage, and another 10 mic. I left the one up here. That one still checks fine, but considering at the moment can't get parts delivered, I only had 2 other 10 mic caps left in stock, and if I go to restore a radio or do something else in my time off work, I may need them. So I mean, you know, I can always replace it at some other stage, and all should be good. Right. So, and what else did I do? Yes, these 2 rather charred-looking 3.3K resistors in the HT voltage droppers off the HT to the both anodes of the PCF80. Put some nice, had some new ones in stock, so I put those in. What else did I change? On here? I'm sure I changed something else as well. What else did I change on here? No, everything else is pretty much. As I've said, these these bloody mustard type Phillips caps, reliable as hell. So those can pretty much be left alone. What did I change on this side? Oh yeah, I changed that 8.2K resistor. And what else did I change? Oh yes, I mentioned those two little electrodes in the previous video that were giving faults, giving the sound ratio, the ratio detector issues, and I've sorted that. Yes, right, I've done all that, so that's cool. Now, improving the picture. This was a bit of fun. As I suspected, someone's had this IF can out because it's been put on an angle. I've left it in place. I haven't gone disturbing the solder. I've left it in place. But yeah, I noticed when I was adjusting the tuning, I was getting shadowing and like double image off to one side, and it just wasn't tuning right, and the picture didn't look great. So I basically started with some static test patterns. And yeah, basically gave these two a tweak either side, and it didn't take much to bring the picture pretty much back into line. I reckon somebody had maybe replaced those, or maybe was chasing another fault. Maybe there's a crook valve, or the tuner had mind you, the two roasted resistors in the tuner may have been giving a fault of, might have been giving low gain or poor AGC or something, or just a real crappy picture. And someone probably thought it was the IF, so they went and twiddled. I mean, I hate people who get in here and twiddle, and twiddle IF cores. Find the fault, find the component at fault first. I mean, generally these things hardly ever fail at all. It's either a valve or a component. I mean, yes, sometimes these do go open, but yeah. Unfortunately for me, I don't have the alignment equipment to do it, but I've done enough mucking around with TVs to know something's up, and yeah, it didn't take me long to actually just tweak these cores here and basically get the video response and the picture and the tuning range roughly right. I gave these two a tweak as well, and I just noticed the picture seemed to improve all the time, and now it's all the shadowing's gone, the tuning range is good, and the picture it's actually really sharp and clear, and the performance of it is as good as a Philips. So I'm quite impressed at how much better it now looks. Really impressed. So to be these ones here, I would have these ones here. So yeah, to be probably these ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'd be So it'll be it's probably be these ones here are basically adjusted slightly. I mean, they weren't out by much. One of them only took like one complete turn. A couple of others I just tweaked either side, and yeah, pretty much got it all working well. And I readjusted the ratio detector in the sound traps as well. So I adjusted those cores and got the sound running at peak optimization with minimal noise. Left those two alone. They haven't been disturbed by solder at all, so I haven't been disturbed or outside. I just left them alone. Yeah. So now I replaced the because as in the previous video, the output transformer was a crock on open circuit on the primary, and I had one in my drawer, which turned out to be pretty much this is a roller one, and I chose it because it pretty much fitted straight in, didn't have to redraw holes or anything, and I put a couple of little standoffs under there. Just stop the wires from the secondary crushing or shorting the speaker wires to the actual chassis, and just wired the primary side there, and that actually looks okay. It doesn't interfere with the picture in any way. It looks good. It's all nice and snug. What else was I going to mention about this? Oh yes, and the other thing too is I couldn't get the width control to do much. Like it would you'd turn the pot and it would sort of go. It was either a bit of width, or it was pretty much nothing. And the 1 meg pot, that pot was that pot was doing all sorts of weird things. It didn't. The resistances were all wrong. It was all like, it read wrong on my meter. It was jumping around doing all sorts of crazy things. And I happened to go through me box of used pots. And she found an identical replacement, a new all stock Philips. So which was good. And I also played around with the VDR as well, the voltage dependent resistors as well. And I found this one here actually gives me this one here. I changed it because it actually gives me I now get a lot more. I can now adjust the width. I get a lot more adjustment in the width control now, and of course with the width that alters the boost voltage as well. So of course the pitcher, of course it changes the pitcher size and EHT as well. But I've got it sort of where I'm happy with it. Yeah, plus I'm probably slightly underrunning the boost voltage as well, which means this poor thing doesn't get screwed along, and it's going to save the LOPD as well, and the other components around it too. Apologies if I'm waffling. It's getting quite late at night. So just doing that allows me to adjust the actual boost voltage as well. It just allows me to play with it a bit more. And it's around 800 odd volts, sitting on around 810 on there. Whereas originally it was around sort of 830, 840, and the picture was quite stretched. But now I basically run it so that basically the picture's pretty much just inside the it looks nice and square. It's not too narrow and it's not too wide. And changing those two components have allowed me to have a bit more range and to play around with that. So what else? Something else I was going to say. Oh yeah, the audio section. I actually added some negative feedback to the audio stage, and I changed the cathode resistor to 150 ohms. Put a 47 microfarad cap as well in series and cross that as well. And I put a resistor in the feedback circuit back to the cathode of the PCL86 as well. Just found a value that basically suited it without pulling the gain in too much. And it has improved the sound a little bit, but unfortunately the speaker that I've used is actually, I think it's actually a mid-range driver out of probably a three-way speaker system. But the other unfortunate thing is that this thick material on the front, this thick material on the front, actually stops, because the speaker grill's over there, and it actually stops a lot of sound getting through. So you actually kind of hear a lot of sound out of the back. So I did find, I've still got it here. I took this. This is out of this is an AC/DC. This is out of an AC/DC. Actually, this is an AC/DC speaker out of that radio, which I did a video on a couple of days ago. So it's the same sort of speaker that's in there, and I put that in, and it actually sounded a lot better sitting out. I put it back in the cabinet, and it just sounded like someone had shoved a bloody cloth in front of it. It was just awful, even with the output stage modified. So I ended up putting the original speaker back in, and I go with and in modifying the output stage, I actually consulted a really good friend of mine who's an audio nut. He actually, a good friend of mine, actually builds valve amplifiers out of TV valves, and basically like frame output transformers. And he's made some really interesting creations with what he's done. I ran a couple of things past him and chucked a couple of ideas at him. He said, he told me what to do. I had a rough idea, but he sort of told me what to do. In regards to what sort of feedback loop I should put on there, but I mean, I sort of an idea, but I thought, well, I'll run it past him because he knows a bit more than me about modifying audio stages. I mean, I know the basics, so between him and I, we got something that worked, and the sound definitely has improved. But one thing he did do, he built a very low powered stereo amplifier using PFL 200s. Now these are basically video triode pentodes, and I tell you what, those valves, I know that they are fairly high gain, but boy, I tell you, for audio, for actual sound quality, absolutely amazing. Not much power, maybe half a watt at the most, but on my pair of old 10 speakers, which are really sensitive, the thing runs them perfectly fine. They sound great. So yeah, no, it's a good. I take my hat off to him. Actually, he's one of these guys who just thinks of a circuit in his head and then goes and builds it. I wish I had that, but I don't. But he's just one of these. He's just real clever guy. Now, if you're watching this video, you know who you are. Yeah. So yeah. So what else was there? I think we're pretty much done, actually. So I might kick this thing in the guts. Oh no, that's right. We were going to have a laugh, weren't we, at these pathetic old capacitors. So we will. Let's see what these test. Right. This will be a joke. Not quite sure. Yeah, they've got the symbols indicating the values, but I mean, let's have a look at this for a pure amusement factor. So what have we got here? We've got, oh, I saw some charge in that thing actually. That's amazing. That was probably the 25 microfarad one. Oh, still got some charge in this thing. That was probably the 50, I'd say. Don't know what that was. And down there. Oh, you swine. It's interesting. That was either the 200 microfarad section or the 100 section, but that's pretty much, as you know, that's pretty much had it. We'll go to the other one now. And I have a fly buzzing around my head, which is really annoying me. I don't have a fly swat or fly spray in here. It's just one of those big lazy blowflies. There's nothing like working away on a TV and all of a sudden one lands on your face. Believe you me, that is so frustrating. Might just short these out because I can. Blow up my paw. This thing, especially for repairing vintage audio, all those old aging electrolytics. These ESR meters are bloody great. Just yeah. Amazing little best $200 ever spent, to be honest. I think you can still buy these. I think there's a later version which has like a beeper. It's actually good. The specs are slightly higher, but this is the one that's before it. But I've had this thing now for quite some years, and it's been very reliable, very faithful to me. Right, let's see what this one reads. I'm guessing it's probably a 25 microfarad range. Maybe the 50 or the 100. That's probably the 100, I'm guessing. God knows. But yeah, basically they're all bloody. They're all had it. All this just there's no get out of it, fly. So yeah, those are stuffed. All right, I will pause here, put the camera down, put it on top of the TV, and I'll show you it running. And do you notice something different about the knobs? I forgot to mention that. Yeah, I actually rummaged through my bits and pieces, and I actually found a couple of matching knobs that look okay. They're probably not the originals, but that's what was on it originally when I got it, and I found a matching one. Unfortunately, that channel, this must be offered different. I mean, basically, it's the same color knob, but yeah, maybe I'll have to. It's obviously for a different set, so I should probably take the number indicator decal off and actually turn it around and then re-glue it, because basically at the moment that's pretty much where I think it's on channel 2 or channel 3, I think, from memory. I'm not sure what the output on the RF modulator is, but yeah, so at some stage I'll unstick that and actually pull it around so it lines up. But at least it looks the part anyway for now. It looked a bit dumb with that stupid black knob and some other mismatched ones on there. So, right, let's turn it on and see how it goes. My DVD player did something weird there. Sounded like the laser optics was bloody smacking into the disc and went quite noisily. Don't tell me this one's going to fail. These damn Chinese DVD players are not reliable enough. So yeah, give it a couple of seconds to. But yeah, the shaking is actually the shaking is actually in the camera itself. It's actually rock steady picture wise. Vertical hold works good now. But you might not be able to see it, but there was a whole lot of shading when I adjusted the fine tuning. You could see a ghost of everything off the side, and tweaking the IF coils definitely brought everything back. And when I adjust the tuning, it's working like it should now. It's not going all funny and strange, and sound's not going all noisy. It's actually working. It seems to be fine, all things considered. The sound was better. We'll go back to. I can't really actually demonstrate on this DVD. It's got copyright material, which I'll get a flag for. So, but yeah, look at that. It's perfectly watchable. Picture's got good brightness, really good brightness range. Plenty of brightness there. Little bit of picture, a little bit of EHD variation, but hell, nothing that's worth getting all concerned or worried about. Yes, the only two valves I didn't change were the PL500 and the DY87, because I've got new stock of those somewhere, but I can't locate them at the moment. And the two that are in there, I tested them, they're fine, so I've left them in there for now. So they're going to stay in there. I'll leave those well alone. But yeah, no, it's certainly looking a lot better than what it was. Yeah, I'm quite happy with it actually. Right, I'm just going to pause for a second to put something else on here. Some time ago, probably some years ago, I downloaded a program to my computer and burnt this test pattern disc here. And I'll tell you what, I actually kind of forgot about it. I was digging through some other discs the other day, and I found it. And this is great, because it gives you standard Philips. The navigation of this thing is absolutely shocking. It's just awful. But it gives you standard Philips one there. I'll give it a bit more brightness as well. It sort of actually looks better on the. You get your standard Philips one there. I think you hit menu to return, and they've got the B&K one as well for my American viewers. Oh, there's navigation on this is awful. Of course, with this crappy remote too that I'm using as well, just bloody shithouse. So yeah, the picture geometry isn't perfect. It's got some slight horizontal linearity stretching, and I've basically played with the linearity coil, and I've played with the yoke adjusting wedges and rings. I mean, it's as good as it's ever going to get. It's never going to be perfect. Yeah. I actually found this one here actually quite good. When I was aligning the IEF, I actually found this one actually quite good to use. It just seemed I was able to look at everything, and look at the video response, and look at the shadowing and the ghosting and the thing, you know, the thing. Look at the picture would change when things went right. This one seemed to show it up quite well. On there, and for my UK viewers in England. Where are we? Oh, this is the good old BBC test card. There's a bit of bowing there, and it's not. Yeah, but it's an old TV. What do you expect? What else has it got here? I've got the old Indian one. I think this is from the black and white era. I think this is from the black and white era. So the old 1940s, 1950s test cards. These are actually quite cool. Actually, they're quite neat going through them. And you've got other things. You've got like cross hatch with a circle, and what else have you got here? Oh, there's all sorts of strange things. Guess that's that. There. Look at your video response there. Delays and stuff like that. Again, any sort of artifacts are in the camera, not necessarily blaming the things like that. Oh, you should see it and think, geez, that sort of like those like flickering lines going up the picture. It's just all just in the actual picture itself was just shaking and shimmering. But yeah, I don't know where I got this from. I don't know where I downloaded it from. I don't even know where I downloaded it from either. But yeah, very, very handy. Yeah, you got to point the remote right at the damn DVD player before it even do anything. Try to look at ones that have actually relevance for this. Yes, there's all sorts of interesting things on here. A lot of these too would be good for color as well. You'd both look at your chroma lock, chroma alignment, all that sort of stuff, delay lines, all that lovely stuff that you get with color, grayscale, all that sort of thing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe one of my next videos should be on a colour TV, colour ones, especially some New Zealand ones as well out there in the shed. I don't know. But, yeah, one like that's probably a good one for grayscale. Depends whether they can be bothered doing another TV after this, but you never know. But yeah, no, it's a great another great tool. Black on there as well. Let's maybe look at inverted. What else we got here? On there. We got the old. We're back to the start now, aren't we? Back to the start here. Yeah, back to the start pretty much. There's a good old classic Indian head. It's probably from way back. Right, and I think we will finish with a wee bit of Monty Python.
The Black Death, typhus, cholera, consumption, bubonic plague. Oh, those were the days. I'm not prepared to go on with this unless these interruptions cease. All right? Right.
As you can see, apart from the flickering, the picture is a lot better. Yeah, it is a lot better.
No, don't follow me. And don't zoom in on me. No, I'm off. I'm off. That's it. That's all. I'm off. Are you nervy, irritable, depressed, tired of life? Keep it up. This house is surrounded. I'm afraid I must not ask anyone to leave the room. No, I must ask nobody. No, I must ask everybody. So I must not ask anyone to leave the room. No one must be asked by me to leave the room. No, no one must ask the room to leave. I ask the room, shall by someone be left? No. Ask nobody, the room, somebody, leave, shall I? Shall I leave the room? Everyone must leave the room as it is with them in it. Understand? You don't want anybody to leave the room. Now, I'll deuce me to allow myself. I'm sorry. Now, self me my use into me to lose my loud. Allow me to your my excuse me, madam. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm afraid I must halt, but no one leaves the room.
Definitely a lot of bezel faulty in this. You can see where you can see where faulty towers got its inspirations from. Right, we might she might call it quits there, I think.
The murder of these. The murder of the body is somebody in this room, which nobody must leave. Leave the body in the room, not to be left by anybody. Nobody leaves anybody or the body with somebody. Anybody who is anybody shall leave the body in the room body. Hey, no, I got anybody with a body, but not the body is nobody.
So before I finish off, I thought we'd take a final look at all the dead parts we pulled out. So yeah, this one was actually quite a rebuild actually. It was, yeah, definitely had me scratching my head, especially where the Lopti was concerned, but I've got other spares. So if the one in there should fail, I have got 3 or 4 others I can definitely put in there. Yeah, certainly not the most difficult set I've restored. There have been others. If you go through some of my old videos, you might find a few others that I did some years ago that I took quite a bit of time restoring. But yeah, I'm going to wind up the video here, and apologies if it was a wee bit too long. I just try and make the channel content interesting as best I can. And thanks for watching. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video series on a restoration of a Lotus Model 6513 19-inch New Zealand made black and white TV. So that's all for now, and yeah, stay tuned for further videos. Bye for now.